I just made the biggest mistake of my life in chasing it again, delusional optimism to something that wasn't possible, and my body shut down and thought I was dying. Not until I got in my 30s was I smart. It was like, and as soon as that light, like I felt it, it was like, I got to do my whole camp in Southern California. That's where my whole lifestyle changed. It was a whole lot easier to knock people out. People are still going to say what they want to say, and that's going to weigh on you. Like I had to come back, no matter what. Like I had to.
TJ Dillashaw, two-time UFC Bantamweight champion. Welcome to Beyond the Game.
I appreciate you having me.
You're probably one of the guests I've been most excited to speak to. When I formed the idea of Beyond the Game, it was all about uncovering those deeper lessons learned from sports in general, but definitely in the world of high performance, and how we can share some of those learnings to everyone, whether it's amateur sports or your professional career. There's learnings in there that I think are invaluable. You encompass a lot of that original ethos and idea I had around it, so I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here.
Thank you.
Do you mind if we jump back a little bit to the beginning, because you don't get to where you got to in your career without a strong foundation? And when I think of foundations, I often look at attitudes and beliefs. Can you tell us, and for listeners who may not really be familiar with you, how your attitudes and your beliefs, and specifically around sports, formed at a young age?
Yeah, it all started with wrestling. My dad wrestled through college, started coaching a youth program in my small hometown, a town of like 3,500 people, a town called Angels Camp, California. He was coaching a youth program, and I started just following him to practice, and one thing led to the next. I wanted to start doing it. And to be honest, that's what really developed my mental mindset throughout my entire life and my career. Yeah, you learn amazing techniques for the world of MMA, combat sports through wrestling. But I think more so the mental toughness and determination that wrestling brings along more than anything. You're competing every weekend. It's a one-on-one sport starting as a kid. You learn how to compete, right? You learn how to step on the mat and leave it all on the line, only you. You don't have teammates. Everything falls on you. That's a lot of pressure. I mean, my son's wrestling now. It's the kind of the only sport he really wants to do. And to be honest, I'm kind of surprised because it's not, I don't know, it's not the most fun sport, right? It's like, it's a wrecking thing. And, leading up through, had a good high school career, got a full ride scholarship to Cal State Fullerton, did well, but it never panned out the way that it should have. I was ranked top 10 in the nation and always bomb out at the end of the year. And I didn't really learn how to compete. I learned how to outwork my opponents. I learned how to be mentally tough, but I didn't learn the physiology I needed to really peak my body the right way. It's kind of the olden days that more was better, right? Do more, work harder than your opponent, work harder than your opponent. And it got me really far, right? But not until I started fighting did I really learn like what it meant to peak, what to pull back a little bit, how to cycle your body, so I learned through failures, learned through those setbacks that really got me to the top.
Absolutely. But like you say it there as if it's a really easy thing to do, is to show up, outwork other people, embrace that fear and that pressure. 90% of people, especially young people, can't do that. So obviously there must have been something instilled in you from those around you, whether it was your father, your family, or coaches. We form attitudes based on our feelings towards the thing. And so you obviously had some enjoyment towards it, or you were taught to associate positive emotions to that work ethic.
Yeah, I was definitely raised by my parents to, both my mom and my dad are some of the hardest working people that I know still today, and they just instilled that into me by example. It wasn't like they demanded it. It was more just a lifestyle they lived and me seeing it through my eyes and on what it looks like to be successful. And they supported me all over the country. They felt like they're always there. They were very supportive, right? And I believe that I'm not saying this is the right way to look at it, but I feel like I got a lot of self-worth from being good at wrestling, right? Like
Yeah.
I identified myself and it got tough. I mean, even in junior high, I almost quit wrestling in 8th grade. But then going into my year, you kind of get more on a team and, you want to be someone in high school. And, I was
Eh,
standout wrestler, right? And so like, that was kind of like, there's my worth. That's what I'm going to go for. And then it gave me something. It gave me gratification because I worked my ass off to get there. And then I reaped the rewards of it. So that's kind of where I feel like where it all started, right? And like, you're right. Most people can't wrestle, most
no.
people they can get out there, they can play other team sports because there's not as much pressure on you. But when not only the pressure, but also the workload and you're cutting weight, which you probably shouldn't be doing at a young age, and just putting your body through like unrealistic struggles that most people can't do?
Yeah. Did you play other sports as a young kid?
I did. Yeah, I grew up playing all sports. I mean, I played baseball, soccer. I was even playing football all the way to my freshman year of high school. And then I realized like
Right.
I'm way too small for this sport. Like I'm not gonna throw all my body weight around. I didn't even weigh 100 pounds my freshman year in high school. But I was aggressive. So I played all sports. But obviously wrestling just stood out because I was good at it. I was mean. Like I was real aggressive.
Off the mat as well?
No, not off the mat. Just in I would say that I was for competition purposes, right? Like when it came to the competition, like I didn't want you to beat me at Monopoly. I didn't want you to beat me at a game of tag. I didn't care what it was. If we were playing, I was gonna win. That's how at least
Yeah.
I felt in my mind. I mean, that didn't always go that way, but that was the goal in hand.
Yeah, we've spoken to a lot of people on this podcast, Olympians and like 100-meter sprinters, and that ability to taper down and then build up that aggression, that controlled aggression for when you need it. That's an
Exactly.
errant behavior. And again, I imagine in combat sports often might peter on the line of actually being able to control that or get it right at the right time.
Yeah, man, and I've had some backlash for that, right? I said I'm very aggressive, I'm very competitive, and that comes out in you, and you don't want to lose in practice. You don't ever want to lose, right? And so
Of course.
I'm playing a combat sport, and it's an individual sport, and you're being a little bit selfish because you're thinking about yourself and your career. Obviously, you got people that are backing you and whatnot. Yeah, man, I did what I needed. I felt I needed to always be on top.
Yeah. And then so you left college and you're about to go on and do some further studies. You doing studying kinesiology or exercise science?
Yeah, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I went to college, right? I went to school for wrestling. It wasn't like I had a plan to go to college, right? Like, so I went to school for wrestling and I dabbled in a little bit of things, trying to like communications, this and that. And then I was like, didn't like what I was doing. So I got into kinesiology and then like, boom, it just clicked. Like started learning about the body and why it works for me was like peak performance, right?
Yeah.
Nutrition, biomechanics, all this stuff started clicking. So then I was like, I'll be a physical therapist, right? And then at that time, physical therapy was very competitive to get into school, and physician's assistants was a little bit easier to get. It's still very hard, but they actually started getting paid more right off the bat, right? So I was like,
Yeah.
that's where I'm going. I'm going to go be a PA. Graduated college, was doing some prereqs. I was enrolled in grad school, so I was doing some prereqs like chemistry over the summer. And man, summer school was like for that, it was just ridiculous. And I was doing chemistry
Drainer.
and I already did 5 years of college, and I didn't feel like my competitive edge was done yet, so I had a
Okay.
coach, Mark Munoz, he was my assistant wrestling coach at the time, was a UFC fighter already, and I started following him around to do jiu-jitsu, and he's training with all big guys, and I was holding my own, and he's like, "Man, you should give this thing a shot. You should go start training with guys your size," and I was like, "You're speaking music to my ears right now because I don't like school."
Yeah.
So I dropped out and went to try to give this thing a shot?
I'm an ex-teacher, so I've seen plenty of young men, young women, lots of people just it's just not right for them at a lot of the time, and there's something else burning within them that they need to pursue. You did then go on and pursue it, and after you appeared in the Ultimate Fighter TV series, and you did you lose in the final
I did.
of that? But you still went on to the UFC.
Yeah, I went up and started training. So I dropped out of school, moved to Sacramento, started training with Team Alpha Male. Within my first like 3 months of training, I took my first couple of amateur fights, jumped right into pro. I only took two amateur fights, built it up to 4-0 within a year, and then just the right time, right place, right time. The UFC bought WEC, started the show. I got in very green. Like I was a wrestler that was trying to learn how to strike, right? So got on the show, showed a lot of promise, handled them very well. Like the guy that I beat to get on the show was like, forget, he was like, his record was in the 20s. Matt Jaggers, I believe, and I finished him first round. So in the house and did well there, but lost in the finals. And UFC was still willing to offer me a contract because of how I performed.
Did you that's a to go into something that elite, knowing in yourself, I'm a wrestler, I don't know how to strike to a high level degree. Did that create self-doubt for you?
Luckily, I was training at a gym that had a bunch of killers already. And so I already had got to test my skills against the best in the world. I mean, I have favorite Joseph Benavidez number 2 and 3 in the world at my weight class. Chapman is and so I had all these guys that I got to challenge my skills against and was able to I got beat up but hold my own and felt like I had enough to take on these guys that weren't number 2 and 3 in the world, right? So I had that confidence. And then when I got into the show, it just gave me so much more confidence that what I was doing and the guys I started training with, I was like, man, I got this. So,
Yeah.
and it comes from that mental toughness of wrestling that what I call it now, someone told it to me back earlier in my career, but delusional optimism, right? Like no matter what, believing in myself. And It's a very powerful thing. I mean, it could get you in trouble as well, but it can also make you conquer the world. And I believe that's what was my rocket ship, was that I just had the most optimistic belief in myself that I could get it done.
Nice. That belief obviously eventuated in you becoming a UFC champion in 2014. Bro, and I mean, you're 28, I think, so you weren't super young, but you weren't old either. You were kind of probably right in that prime. How did how did that success affect you?
Yeah, you say I wasn't young. I would definitely. I mean, I wasn't, but I didn't start MMA till I was 24. So from
Okay.
the first day of starting MMA, I was able to win a world title in 4 years. So to me, I was still young in the sport. I felt like it at
Yeah.
least. And I was
I see. I guess I meant from like a maturity point of view. When you get that much success, you know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely. But I was the success happened overnight because yeah, I was in the UFC, right? Like that's an accomplishment in its own, but that's not where I was shooting for. And I was only ranked like eighth in the world, and I just so happened to get a title shot because someone else got hurt, and I was able to step in last moment. And so I just got a skyrocket to winning everything. So it wasn't like I just built. I don't know. It was just overnight success, right? And went
Yeah.
from a in the teens for thousands of followers to like hundreds of thousands, and just started, I don't know, just skyrocketed. And it was fun, man. It was a lot of fun. And I'm glad that I was 28 years old when it happened, because I had my legs under me a little bit more. I had some goals of
Yeah.
start family, getting married. And if I would have been younger, single, or whatever it would have been when I won a world championship, I think it could have been bad news just for my personality and whatnot. So I think it
Yeah.
was me to wait till later in life until I got that success.
Absolutely. And you probably had some guardrails established, I guess. Like you had you're married at that time. I know your like long term partner is now your wife. So that's a good guardrail to have and feet on the ground, as you mentioned.
Crazy story, man. We weren't married yet. We dated, so we started living together when I was 20,
Okay.
and we didn't get married till 3 weeks after we win the world championship when I was 28. So we dated for 8 years before we got married. But like when I proposed to her in 2013, right? She didn't get married right away. So I was like, I don't know. You just got to pick a date. Like I don't know when I'm gonna get in the
Yeah.
fight. I was just like, luck of like just Russian roulette. Pick a date. And she picked a date, and I wasn't even supposed to be fighting for a title. I was gonna be fighting Toge Muzagaki, but again, things happened where someone dropped out. I'm fighting for the world title 3 weeks before we get married. Win the world title, riding the high, go and get married. It was like the best month.
Sick.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. That's incredible. And you continue then to sustain that success over the next like 3 years. I know you did lose the title at one point to Dominic Cruz, but again,
Oh, excuse me.
Good.
That fight still bugs me to this day,
Does
man.
it?
That was millions of dollars just taken out of my pocket from a fight that I won. So
Mm.
that would always just rub me.
Yeah. Good. That's yeah. It should. I was rewatching your fights over the last week or so, and yeah, I empathize with why you're feeling like that. Absolutely.
My whole life lies in the hands of these three judges,
I know.
complete fucking idiots, which I think they got us confused. Like Tony Weeks was the one that ruined the whole card. Like just ridiculous, man. But it is what it is, and it led me to the path. It's how my delusional optimism is, like it was meant to be, whatever it may be.
But you rectified it. You beat Cody down the track and regain that title. And then do challenges get stale for you in that business? Because you obviously were looking for more. You want to become a champ and drop down to flyweight to fight Cejudo. But when you're defending the title and you're looking for more at that level, like you've obviously scaled the mountaintop in your weight division. And then is it that feeling of what next? What more can I do?
Yeah, man. It's just you seen Connor just do it, right? And he's blowing up and just
Yeah.
setting the roadmap to like superstardom, payment, which I didn't want the superstardom. I would never want to live his. I wouldn't want that, but I did want the money that came with it, right? Like that would go.
100%.
Well, like yeah, winning world titles and all that stuff is the goal too. But let's be honest, we're prize fighters, and I wanted to make the big bucks, right? So my weight class, I kind of had ran through it at the time. Little did I know that it was going to be one of the toughest weight classes in the next few years. And so I was offered to shut the weight class down. He's like, look, this isn't our most successful weight class. It's like, I need you to drop down. I was trying to fight Demetrius Johnson before Cejudo. I
Yeah.
think Cejudo really beat him, but he did. And so I just made the biggest mistake of my life in chasing it again, delusional optimism to something that wasn't possible. And my body shut down and thought I was dying.
Yeah. That for anyone that wants to understand sacrifice in pursuit of a goal, they need to look at that weight cut that you went through. I think like that was Yeah, and hindsight's 2020, isn't it? But when you're in it, I imagine it's hard to. You're so driven. You have this goal that you want to attain.
Well,
How
no,
is your?
there it was dangled with the paycheck. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was going to be a hard thing to do, but it was like, damn, that's the most money I'm ever going to make in a fight. Like, let's get it done.
What was the paycheck for that?
It was guaranteed 700,
Yeah, bro.
700, you know? So it's like, fuck yeah, man. Like, can we pay off the rest of my house or whatever it may be? Like, let's
Yeah,
go. Like,
yeah.
alone, win, double champ, things that come with it. Like, again, just shooting for something that wasn't realistic, but, you know,
What's going on psychologically when you're in the horrors and the depths of that weight cut?
a lot actually, man. You know, you're supposed to be a world champion. You're supposed to be the baddest man on the planet, and you're supposed to walk out and fight another grown man that's supposed to be the other baddest man on the planet, and you feel like
Yeah,
a fraction of yourself. You know, like you wake up, you don't want to train. You are exhausted because you have zero red blood cells left, and you're full blown anemic, like you're cold, like just felt like a frail, just nothing. You know,
yeah,
yeah.
that's hard. And then you have to go in and literally go hand to hand with another monster. That must, yeah, it's incredible. Looking back at it and looking over the last few weeks, I'm glad there's probably some tighter kind of awareness around it these days for athletes. I don't think it would probably make it any easier going through that process though.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it just opens eyes like, dudes, don't drop the weight, you know, and like
Yeah,
it's not worth it, you know,
yeah.
like just the toll you're gonna put on your body.
Following that, then obviously you had probably the toughest thing any professional athlete could go through. You were banned for 2 years. You tested positive for EPO following that fight. I know I don't want to dwell on that because it's been spoken about to the nth degree. What I really admire about that, TJ, honestly, is your ownership of it. It's not easy, especially alpha males. I work with a lot of young people, a lot of young men. The ability and the reluctance to own your mistakes and own your fuck ups is so hard because of this kind of masculine courage based world you have to live in, especially as a young man. And I think you owned it. And then do you feel, and this might be a hard thing to answer, do you feel a sense of pride in how you owned it in the end and how you learned from it?
I feel like I had to be able to live with it. I feel like it would have broke
Yeah.
me. Feel like it would have broke me even worse if I didn't, you know?
Yeah.
Like it was like some of the way getting a weight lifted off of me. Like I just need to get this off of me. Like same way if you go to therapy or whatever, be just like let it all out there, let it be known, just get it out and just move past it. I feel like that was the only way I was gonna be able to do it. Otherwise, it's just always this back and forth, you know?
Yeah. But not everyone does it like that. I think, was it the head of USAD actually commended you on how you actually owned it and dealt it as well at the time? Um, Someone who was involved in the UFC at the time. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, it was, what they call him, the golden snitch. What's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy that running USADA. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And there's actually research, psychological evidence-based research that has come out that people who own mistakes, whether it's on a small level in business, in sports, or whatever you may do in your personal life, that it actually contributes to long-term resilience and diminishes your chance of psychologically and physiologically holding long-term distress in your body. So I think for any listeners, and especially young people, own your shit and move on, I think is an important thing.
wow.
That next 2 years, I imagine, and I've spoken to a lot of athletes who've had long injury periods out of their game and their sports. Obviously, this was sort of self-inflicted in a way, and I imagine you went through some tough times, some dark times.
Man, bad, bad, bad. I mean, especially the first 6 months too, right? Like when being on top of the world to like as bottom as you could possibly be, right? Like something that I should have just pulled out from a fight because I went full blown anemic and was taking an anemia medication called Procrit, which obviously had what you said in it. And so like just like so mad at yourself for the decisions you made, obviously, right? And then watching your weight class that you're champion of just go on without. It was tough, man. It was really tough. But again, I feel like letting it all off my chest and then just finding a way forward and training other fighters and trying to get into business. And obviously, not obviously, but I had a son. What that was 2019. He had just turned 2, so like I got to spend. I was like got to spend the last 2 years. A lot of time at home, and then COVID happened, right? So we definitely
Yes. Yeah.
it was probably the best time possible for COVID to happen for me.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. You weren't flying out to fight islands too much. Yeah, yeah. There's a concept called psychological capital, and it's broken down into 4 components: hope, efficacy, resilience, and optimism. And it's a characteristic of people who overcome tough times, and it's something I try and get people to become aware of and our listeners to become aware of. You've already alluded to having that delusional optimism, but in that time, in order to get yourself to a point of returning? Were you hopeful that you could? Did you have efficacy belief in yourself, resilience in overcoming?
I had to, like, it wasn't that I wanted to or, like, wanted to believe, I had to, like, there was just so much bad talk going on that this was happening my whole career, even though USADA, right? So you after I failed, USADA went back and retested all my samples all the way back to 2016, and they all came back with flying colors, but
Yeah,
still, people are still gonna say what they wanna say, and that's gonna weigh on you, like, yeah, you shouldn't care what people say or think, but they fucking do, don't get me wrong, right? So,
of course.
I
Yeah.
I had to come back no matter what, like, I had to. And that led into me coming back and fighting a fight and me blowing my knee out in the first 10 or the last 10 seconds of that first round and just having to still today, that was by far the hardest fight I've ever fought because of what I was going through to come back, right? Like all the
In
prep
Sandhagen?
against Sanhagen. Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
back off of suspension and very tough guy. I had trained with him in the past. I knew that I could beat him. But I was coming back with all this pressure on me of like, oh, how's he gonna perform? He's off the suspension. He's not on the stuff. Like all that. And then I go out and I blow my knee out. Beat him very handily the first round. Then I blow my knee out in the last 10 seconds of that first round, every ligament in my knee. And I walk back to the other corner, is like, dude, my knee's fucked. And my coach is just like, forget about it. Fucking, we got to go. And then, like, that was my mindset as well, too. Right. And then I was also dealing with cuts on my eyebrow. I got a massive cut here again, too. So I couldn't
Yeah.
see why I had one leg. And that was just what we brought up of me coming back. That's what it was. Like, I had to. Like, I had
Do
to.
it, yeah.
No matter what, I had to get that win. Like, that was a like, I had to.
What was the feeling like once your arm was raised and you were able to go back to the locker room and sit down? Was there just a weight off your shoulders, or how were you feeling?
Yeah, big time weight off my shoulders. It was kinda like, I need to get back out there right again, like, I need that again. Little did I know that every ligament in my knee was torn, like, I knew it hurt, like, and I knew, like, I couldn't put my weight on it and stuff, and I was like I even said in my pre-fight speech, "I wanna get back out there, I wanna fight."
Yeah.
I'm out for another year and a half because I blew out everything in my knee, right? But yeah, it was like, to say the least, it was a lot of weight lifted off my shoulders, to prove a point, and I felt like that fight more than anything definitely did.
Do you have a team of like psychological support, like mental health practitioners around you throughout that career? Or are you just so self sufficient and like you have your close knit team that you're kind of just dealing with that?
I've just and I've been asked this a bunch, like, "Hey, sports psychologist, yeah, do it. It's awesome." I never did. I got very fortunate and learned how to do it by accident. Wasn't like I planned on doing it. I mean, it was just life lessons and resilience, and I don't know, just fell into it and just I think, read some books like The Power of the Secret and visualizing and things
Yeah.
like that helped a lot as well too, right? But just ultimately it was all just self-taught and dealing with stressful environments.
Speaking of a stressful environment, you then had one more fight against Aljamain Sterling. Year later, and my God, you watching back that you had one arm for the majority of that fight, if not the whole fight. You can talk about resilience and grit over the long term. When you're in that face to face with another high performance killer who's trying to tee off on your head and you have one arm, how do you regulate the emotions in that, and how do you stay focused and calm?
I think this all came back from me obviously getting suspended and losing my belt. I wanted it back so bad. I wanted to prove myself. We were supposed to fight in October and I started training in like April and I completely tore off my infra, my supraspinatus in my shoulder, but it was like, yeah, I couldn't like lift it normally, but it was strong. I could grapple fine and I was fighting Aljamain Sterling, right? So a champion that I didn't see very threatful, especially to me. I feel like I could out grapple him, like, especially at the time because my arm wasn't dislocating it. It just couldn't raise it the right way. And it was like not great, but I was like, I'm not fighting Peter Yan. Like, I'm not fighting a guy that's gonna like try to keep this on the feet and knock me out, right? Like, I have leaps and bounds better striking than this guy, and I can out grapple him. I'm fine. I'll take the fight. Like, I'll get my belt back with one arm. That's a great story.
Yeah, yeah.
Getting towards the end of camp, we start losing weight, and I'm really working on him on my back because that was like his main technique is being a backpack. And I was doing very good at getting him off my back. But one practice, I'll do it with this arm because I can't even still do it here. But like my jujitsu coach is on my back, when we're working, getting my back flat, reaching around and getting back into his guard, and working fantastic. And I don't know, we're probably like 4 weeks out, and I sublux my shoulder. I dislocated it. It came back in. There was like just a quick pop in and out, and I didn't think too much of it because a lot of people don't know this, but both my Garbrandt fights, my shoulders were doing the same thing.
Okay.
Shoulders were popping in and out before I fought Garbrandt. The first fight was my left shoulder. Because when I was coaching the Ultimate Fighter against him, we were doing a coach's challenge on a balance beam, like a gymnast balance beam. We're playing tetherball above a
Yeah.
pool. And so if you fall off, the goal is to get back on as fast as you can so the guy can't beat you. Well, I went to go fall off and I went to go catch myself and I dislocated my shoulder out the back, but it came back in and I just kept playing, right? And so that
Yeah.
fight, I needed surgery. I did, but I couldn't afford to get surgery. I wasn't the champion. I wanted to get my belt back. So I went to get stem cells. I got stem cells put in it. It helped.
Yeah.
To an it was like putting a Band-Aid on a massive wound. But it held me together. And then the next fight was my right shoulder. It was the same kind of deal. Hence why when I got suspended, I got double shoulder surgery. So dealing with these issues in the past. So when it happened, I was going to fight Aljo, thought nothing of it. It's all right. It's fine. I've already dealt with this before, right? But then it just got worse and worse and worse. When I flew out early to Abu Dhabi, like 2 weeks out, that's when it started getting really bad. And it's like I put all this work into camp, I want my belt back. Like I'm 36 years old at the time. Like,
Okay.
you know how many more chances I'm gonna get, especially against a guy that I think that I could be able to piece up,
Yeah.
And so I decided that I had the utmost belief that I was still gonna win. Even though my shoulder I knew was gonna dislocate, I even told the ref backstage, "I can put it back in the socket, let me keep fighting," you know? Because I thought, what better story than to go out there and fight a guy with one arm and get the win and just add to the legacy, you know?
Yeah. It would have been a nice way to wrap it up, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would've been sick. Would've been sick.
So you managed in such a combative, attritional sport to demonstrate longevity. You're 23 professional fights in there for over 10 years. What are some of the things that you attribute to that over the years to be able to stay there?
Oh, it definitely wasn't smartness because my early career I wasn't doing things right. I was going too hard.
Yeah.
I would, not nutritionally the right way. Not until I got in my 30s was I smart. It was because I met an amazing human being, the smartest guy I've ever met in my entire life, Sam Calavita, that really flipped my nutrition, my supplementation, and my training regimen completely upside down. I'd already been a world champion. I met him when I was coaching Ultimate Fighter as well too, and I met him through another fighter that's helped me coach, and he just really started educating me on how much better I could actually be compared to what I was doing. And it was a night when he told me that I was like, all right, I'll fly to Southern California. I was living in Colorado. Go out there for 2 weeks and see what he's talking about. I did it. It was a night and day difference, like how I felt. Even in just 2 weeks, of me like changing all these things, like, and as soon as that light, like I felt it, I was like, I got to do my whole camp in Southern California. I got to change everything up. That's where my whole lifestyle changed. Like my diet, I've been on that diet since. I've been on that diet for 8 years now, right? Like I haven't faltered
Beautiful.
from and just on the same kind of yeah, so that helped me towards the end of my career. The early part of my career definitely wasn't any help. I mean, I was going way too hard and doing things the wrong way, but my later part of my career definitely helped a lot.
And you mentioned nutrition there, and I love that it's not every athlete can transition from competing into something that fulfills them, but it feels like you've really found something that aligns with your values for lifestyle and you're something you're really passionate about, probably based off your own experience. And that's you set up Wild Society Nutrition. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is and your why behind it?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what happened when I met Sam Calavita is why I started Wild Society Nutrition, right? Like me firsthand feeling the difference it made from the way that I would eat and the supplements that I was taking was like the world needs to know this and they need to start using it and they need to be more educated within it. I think COVID opened a lot of people's eyes as well too of like how to treat your body, how to stay healthy, that the stuff you're putting in your body is really going to affect you. So there's a lot of things that helped in my favor, but especially my personal experience on nutrition and supplementation and how much it changed peak performance for me. So I knew when I retired, I needed to find something. And I've been sponsored by countless brands that were getting me to post about their shitty products that I wouldn't actually even take.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't take them, but I would say that I would take them. And that just like didn't feel good to me, right? Especially when I knew that like I'm not putting sucralose in my body, but that's protein powder has it loaded in there, things like that. And so one thing led to the next, and I decided to create my own brand and did a full chain rollout into Sprouts Farmers Market right off the get go. I didn't even sell one thing online first.
Wow.
Sprouts very impressed with what I was building, and so they believed in me, and we took off on a rocket ship from there with everything from whey protein concentrates, whey protein isolates, all synergistic products that I take. I built these selfishly, right? So my
Hello.
yeah, my whey protein, I built them for peak performance, right?
Yeah.
And not just for athletes, but for the soccer mom that's taking 3 kids to school, whatever it may be. Like we're all living a crazy life. We're all living fast paced lifestyle if you're a professional athlete or not, right? So I built these for peak performance because if you are living your life like a professional athlete, you're going to wake up a lot better. You're going to feel you're going to have a lot more energy throughout the day. So I built all these things selfishly. Like our whey protein concentrates are completely grass fed. They don't have any sugar in it. They're sweetened with stevia, monk fruit. I added organic mushroom blend to it to help with reducing stress, improving athletic performance, cognitive function, things like that.
Oh,
Our wheat protein concentrates here is a clear, our isolates here is a clear. Drinks more like a Gatorade than it is a protein powder. So something you want to drink while you're working out. That's why I added electrolytes to it, and the list kinda goes on, right? I mean,
yeah,
this was a big time selfish one. I'm a big meat eater because I try to eat a lot of protein per day.
yeah.
Our man eats is a 20-ounce grass-fed ribeye. Like, go buy a 20-ounce grass-fed ribeye from the store and tell me how much you're spending. Well, we slice it up really thin, we air dried it, and we put it in a bag. So every 5-ounce bag has got a 20-ounce grass-fed ribeye in it.
Nice.
Selfish Egg created, and that's been our number one seller. It's just taken off so fast. It's been really exciting to see.
There is an issue in what we're eating. I know in America it's quite different to Ireland and Europe, and I lived in Australia for 12 years as well. And I actually was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, which is an autoimmune disease, myself like 4 years ago. And I tried many different things, medications. I was told there's no diet, nothing to do with my diet, couldn't fix it. Um, and I eventually found a coach online and yeah, did a complete detox, went extremely clean. I went clean vegan for about a year. I now built back in grass-fed meats and things like that into my diet. Yeah, it was the only thing that got me out of sickness probably within 6 months, absolutely detoxing and doing that diet. So I've seen the power of that stuff myself firsthand of knowing what's going into your body, being really particular and intentional about ingredients and the benefits it can have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to, like, step on each other, but, like,
No.
going vegan, though, is, like, it's tough because there's a lot of processed foods, right? Like, vegan
Yeah.
food is a lot of processed bullshit that you're taking in to where, like, you probably coulda went carnivore and did it even faster, right? Like,
Potentially.
the carnivore diet's fantastic for autoimmune diseases, but, like, I got rid of psoriasis, like, which psoriasis is an autoimmune disease that, like, you gotta take medication for to get rid of, and it's like, boom, went carnivore and it goes away instantly, right?
Mm,
The processed sugars that it's
yeah.
in, it's the artificial ingredients and that messes up with your gut micro, like, your gut is your second brain. Truly your,
Percent.
and it controls all your hormones, it controls everything, and so if you're putting a bunch of artificial ingredients and processed foods that aren't real in your stomach, then it's gonna spike your adrenal glands, and it's gonna mess with cortisol, and all that stuff's gonna like, your autoimmune diseases are gonna come to the surface to when you can suppress them if you're eating a clean diet and have a healthy gut microbiome, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I was eating nothing processed. It was just clean organic fruit, organic vegetables, beans, legumes. It was challenging though, like that to make that to be disciplined in that sense with your diet. You need for me I needed an external motivator, which was my health. Like intrinsic but extra. Yeah.
Your motivator though, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
it's like it's life changing, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Night
awesome.
and day.
That's cool.
So talk to me then about TJ Dillashaw as an entrepreneur, as a leader, someone who's dealing with teams in a different way. How would you describe yourself?
Man, it was a whole lot easier to knock people off than it is to run your own company. I tell you that. If I could go back right now, I'd do it in this heartbeat. It's fun, man. It gets me up in the morning. I'm on that grind. I'm putting in 10-hour days. Like, this is what I
Wow.
do. This brand right now, I'm wearing a lot of hats. We're a very lean company because well, we've taken off so fast.
Yeah.
So keeping up with that momentum, we're creating fantastic products and our consumers are seeing that. Retailers are seeing that, and we're not worried about our margins. The reason why all these brands have artificial ingredients in their products is because it's cheaper, right? So
Absolutely. Yeah.
we're in a competitive price and we're giving you real natural ingredients, right? So we're not worried about margins, creating awesome products, and people are feeling the peak performance they're getting from them. No doubt we're just taking off, right? So that's been fun, but it's a lot. Like I have to worry about marketing, I got to worry about logistics, I got to worry about retail sales, DTC. So I'm wearing a lot of hats as a CEO and trying to be the best leader I can. And I feel like I've learned a lot of life lessons in how to be a leader throughout my athletic career. Being in the room full of athletes and trying to lead by example, you know, and
Yeah.
kind of do the same thing, like not being a micromanager, but at the same time getting people to believe in you, right? If you can get your team to believe in you and your vision, then they're fully behind you. And then, you know, getting them involved in like ownership, giving them ownership in the brand as well, right? Like they're a piece of wild society.
Sick.
And that's exciting, for the people that are involved in it. And, want to see my success, because they're going to have success off it as well.
Yeah. I spoke to an Olympic athlete before, and she's now a very successful entrepreneur, and she described the transition of it, everything being about her team built around her, the people around her to get the best out of her. And when she flipped it and she became the CEO, she had to kind of swap that mentality. How does she show up to get the best out of those people around her?
Yeah.
Did you find that as a change?
I see that a lot. Yeah. Especially being in an individual sport like fighting, right? Yes, you have a
Yeah.
team behind you to help, like you said, me get ready. Especially towards the end of my career, it was like I hand selected the guys I was going to train with. I hand selected my coaches. I hand selected the guys going to be best per fight, right? So yeah, it was completely selfish, right? And now I can't be selfish because this company won't work if I am. So yeah, I definitely feel that's a great point to make. But I am I mean, I'm sure she probably was as well too, though, in a little bit of different light to where this brand is growing off my likeness at the same time,
Yeah.
right? I have to be this influencer that I've never liked to be, but it has come with the territory, and speak about my experience with athletic performance and my knowledge behind it all. If it comes everything from the way that I train, the way that I sleep, the way that I recover, the way that I eat, like all those things kind of go hand in hand with nutrition, and now I've made myself even busier, which is ridiculous. And I'm coaching fighters and wrestlers right now as well. So
Are you?
for the last 9 weeks, I've been coaching Josh Emmett for UFC 320, which is in
Yeah.
just under 2 weeks, 13 days or 12 days. Got a big fight coming up, so I'm going to be in his corner. And then I am training the high school wrestling team here for all their strength and conditioning right now. And again,
Okay.
I'm donating my time, right? This
Yeah.
is something to where it makes me feel good, gives me some, again, that self-worth. I feel like that, like I'm doing my part to kind of give back, and giving back to the athletes that want to learn what I've learned from and that can look up to me. And yeah, it's been fun, man, but it's exhausting. Yeah, Tuesdays after school and Fridays at 7 a.m. I'm doing strength and conditioning, and I'm training Josh 4 days a week, and I'm trying to run this brand, so,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to be a present father and present husband, right? So
Yeah.
that's life after fighting.
Yeah. And how you've obviously had to build a team around you to do that. What do you look for in people around you now? Let's say in your inner circle, what are some of the characteristics, the dispositions that you're attracted to and that you think will help you grow the brand?
I've been lucky with that. So I got involved in a business that didn't pan out because of COVID. So masticating juicing, cold press juicing was a big part of my nutrition. I'm sure you did as well too for your
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right. It was a big part of my peak performance. And so I got involved with a franchise called Clean Juice that didn't go very well. The franchise wasn't looking out for their franchisees, and
Okay.
COVID happened. I opened on my grand opening on my store, as well as I'm an area developer for Southern California. So I opened my store February 2020. 1 month later, COVID happened and just destroyed us. Like
Yeah, that's just
a lot of time in it. But again, a silver lining happened from it, right? You got to take a positive from all these negatives that happened to you. But I met Nathan Ring. He is now my COO. I flew out to Charlotte to go to like what they call Clean Juice University to learn how to run your store and blah, 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 blah. Well, this guy was a field business consultant that taught franchisees how to run their stores and do things. And I needed to find a general manager to run my store because there's no way I was gonna be able to run. I was still fighting. I was still chasing a
yeah,
goal. And I sitting my wife went out with there with me to Charlotte, and I was sitting next to her, I was like, "We need to hire that guy." This guy wasn't for hire. He worked for corporate. I was like, "I need that guy." That guy, like, his energy, like, how much he cares, like, everything. But, like, I talked him into moving to California and helped me run my area development. Unfortunately, that business didn't work out, but he's still with me. He's my right-hand man. So he's been a guy that's been through the downs, right? Like, he's seen me, like, go through my suspension. He's seen COVID, but now we're riding this wave back up, and he's got that same mental toughness.
yeah,
And then just finding people that you can get along with that also have that grind right now. Like, we're such a lean team, like people willing to take pay cuts, but take equity in the company because we're on a rocket ship of greatness.
Do you, coming from a combat sport background, obviously there's huge levels of discipline required, but conflict is a part of that. And I know you've had public conflicts in the past when you were in the fight game and things like that, but conflict is also a natural part of life and business. How do you address conflict now with outside of the octagon in a professional manner?
Conflict as in like I guess what kind of conflict would you say? Like,
Yeah, let's say arguments, disputes, conflict between employees, disagreements.
so actually, it's a great point. Things that I've learned throughout my career and having so many teammates, especially moving all over the world and working with so many people, is you really learn how each person works, right?
Yeah.
Like the Enneagrams, like what's their love language? Like what's like, what gets them motivated? I feel like I've done a pretty good job of understanding people because of that. And being like also being a coach. Like I've always been a good coach, even when I was fighting, because I can understand how each person needs to be coached.
Yeah.
Some people you might need to instill confidence in them all the time. Some people you might need to like tell them what they're doing wrong, right? But the guy that you needs confidence, you can't tell him what he's doing wrong because that's going to dig him into a hole. So I've done a very good job of like realizing people's personalities, and I think that's really important if you're going to be a CEO and a leader of a brand. Is you got to understand how each person works and fuel their fire, keep them motivated. Don't give them too much, otherwise, Nathan, I can give him everything,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So.
That's emotional intelligence, isn't it? You're figuring out how people tick, how to respond to them, what they need.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think me all the way from wrestling as a kid and, like, my parents would send me across the country to go do wrestling camps, and I'd be on my own, or, I'd be traveling and wrestling a different team, and I just got immersed into so many different walks of life and learning how they tick, like, athletically, that I feel like it transitions very well into how they tick as a person, as how they tick as an entrepreneur. Yeah, I've just kinda taken that with me.
Awesome. And so as you kind of embark on this journey now, and obviously it's still in the early days from a business point of view,
Yeah.
what would you like if we fast forwarded 5 years? Where would you like it to be at? Are we looking at it being on the sponsorship of the Octagon floor? What would you like for Wild Society?
Yeah, it'd be cool to be in Octagon, right? Do full circle moment. I actually have some exciting stuff happening with the UFC, right? They filmed a documentary about me just recently. It should drop anytime, actually.
Awesome.
It's like what success looks like after the cage, like after retirement. And they
Mm.
filmed 7 days of me like building this brand, meeting with venture capitalists and going to my manufacturing plant, making sales, going to Sprout, like really cool opportunities. So they're getting behind me. They're supporting me. Dana loves the entrepreneur world, right? That's like what makes him happy. And he's getting behind that. So that's really, really cool. So I could see that happening one day is us being on the cage and being like an official sponsor of the UFC. It gets to be worldwide. Right now, we're only sold in the US.
Yeah.
I guess to make it to the UK, and I have a lot of fans over there, people asking when we're gonna be for sale over there, so
And Ireland and the UK.
yeah, yeah, all of it, yeah, so overseas, right, like, everywhere over there. I have that's one great thing about our sport is it's such a worldwide audience, and we're building products that are sold in the US that actually can be sold in Ireland, right, like, in the
Brilliant.
UK,
Yeah.
because like the United States can sell complete bullshit to us. Like they can sell us the worst ingredients ever. And these big brands have to create a whole new line of products to sell where you're from.
Yeah.
Like what is that?
They're
Like, how is that possible? Right. So we're already creating products that can be sold tomorrow there. But it's about having the capital for me to start distribution out there. It'll happen and we're grow, but hopefully sooner rather than later, because I know we can do
yeah.
really there. And yeah, so I would love to see us being sold worldwide. I'd like to see us in every door, and bringing knowledge to young adults on how they need to treat their body. Because I know I didn't do it right at 28. And it's not because of the lack of care; it was the lack of knowledge. And knowledge is so easily accessible these days that I'm hoping that just continues.
Cool. We'd love to, when you do get it over here, we'll have it up in the background too, because I do understand the ethos behind the brand and the reason behind it. So well done.
Thank you.
We usually end every podcast with three kind of quick fire questions. We call them injury time questions, but you can imagine the last 10 seconds of a fight in a round, kind of just to wrap things up. What's been tougher, stepping into the octagon, running a business, or parenting?
There's a fire question. That's tough.
Yeah.
They all have their challenges. I'd say entrepreneurship, right? Like being a father is something I wanted to do for a long time. That kind of just came naturally. And thank God I have a partner that is the best mother in the world. So it makes it even easier for me to be a good father. And fighting was just so natural for me because I wrestled my entire life. This is so new. Like I'm so out of place right now. Yeah, of course you are when you go from wrestling to fighting, but even more so becoming this entrepreneur. There's just so much to learn. And luckily I've surrounded myself with very smart advisors that have guided me along the way.
Who's one person from your journey or your life that you think our listeners who are focused on resilience, at mental toughness could learn a lot from?
So what's the question?
So one person from your life, your journey, who would be fantastic to share lessons around resilience, stories on overcoming challenges that has inspired you along your journey.
Yeah. My father is one, and he doesn't mean to. He just does it because he's a crazy workaholic and
Yeah.
leads by example and just pick yourself up. And I mean, the old saying, like, stop crying, right? Like, yeah, I'm not saying that's not the right way to live your life and not the right thing to tell your kids, but I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like as a world, we were a lot more mentally tough back then. So who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to be not soft to people's mental wellness, but I feel like we used to be a little bit better about it than just
Yeah.
how, you know?
And that's why I love the idea of resilience. It's like, yeah, cry, be upset, but no, let's bounce back. All right, let's not let it drag on. Let's go again, because if you sit in it for too long, that's
I
probably
bring I bring up my father, but my mother is the one that really needs to get credit there. If we'd always want to go cry to mom, and she's like, like, suck it up, you're fine. Like, like she more than anyone, she was raised by a drill sergeant.
right.
So her more than anyone really instilled that into us is like, forget about it. If you're gonna be like her, she's delusionally optimist to the fullest. That's where I get it from. Like she always believes the best thing's gonna happen eventually, like no matter what, So my mom would be actually I said my dad, but I mean my mom. My mom is the one that developed it and didn't raise any sissies, that's for sure.
Yeah, nice. We'll hardly get her on the podcast, but that's all right. Yeah. And last one, TJ. What's one piece of advice that a coach or a mentor has given you that's stuck with you and that you still apply to your life today?
Well, I mean, coach and mentor Sam Calavita has like flipped my whole life upside down on the way I thought I needed to live life. Like I was a world champion at the time and I was eating as much gluten as you wanted. I was taking supplements that were horrible for you. And I just like tried to outwork my opponent. That guy's the one that changed my entire life for the better. And now it's something that I get to show my son how to live a life. Like he knows I don't eat sugar. He knows I'm on a clean diet. He sees me working out like 4 days a week next door. Like he's around it. I'm coaching him in wrestling. That guy specifically is probably going to teach me the most longevity within my life and also like an echoing effect to my family, like my son, hopefully how he raises his kids and things like that. So Sam Calavita was that guy for me. I have endless coaches I'd love to give shout outs to,
Of
but
course.
the biggest, I mean, Dwayne Ludwig helped me become a world champion. Without Dwayne Ludwig, I don't know if I would ever became who I was in the cage. He developed the most utmost confidence in my striking skills, and I turned into what he calls a ninja. And that's my brother for life is Dwayne Ludwig. I owe so much to him because I probably wouldn't even have met Sam Calvita if Dwayne didn't get me to the top of the mountain first.
Yeah. Awesome. TJ, thank you so much for your time. You've been very generous. And I hope that the Dillashaw household has given out Wild Society cavemen treats for trick or treating and Halloween in a week or two time. Uh,
Yep, you should. That's a great idea.
but yeah, best of luck with it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do with it. And yeah, good luck with the coaching, the mentoring, everything you're doing. You're a credit. So well done. Thank you.
I really appreciate your time as well. Thank you.
No problem, buddy.